All right, so a bunch of people asked on Twitter if you could boot Windows 10 on the Baikal system. And so I'm going to show you how far I can get, which, to be honest, isn't very far. So first of all, you do need to have um, this setting set because you need to have PCI Express exposed. Then the only way that an unmodified OS can use it. There are some limitations. This only works with a pretty simple device. So if you have any kind of switches or bridges on the card, it's not going to work. And so let me just show you what devices I have here. Again, not much, but here you see this USB controller in segment 2, bus 1, device 0, function 0. This is a simple 1X USB 3 controller. Okay. All right, so let's get out of here and let's boot Windows. So there's that. So it's starting up. Okay. So now let's open up a command prompt. There's no point even trying to go into the installer because, yeah, none of the storage devices are actually visible or usable. And let's run pnp util enum-devices into a text file, notepad that. All right, so let's have a look at what we got. Things of interest. So obviously the onboard USB 3 works, otherwise I wouldn't be able to use the keyboard on this. So I guess that's common sense. Scrolling down. All right, so this is interesting. So there is an onboard SATA controller. I had installed Debian on that in the previous video, and Windows does see it. And okay, so that started fine. Okay, let's move on. So that USB Samsung Flash Fit thing is what I booted the installer from. Okay, moving on, and here we see the PCI Express root complex. Woohoo! Right. So that started, right? That's great news. Okay, so bummer number one, we see that the NVMe SSD that I have on board failed to start. Okay, so I wonder what that could be. Now, folks online have said that, well, NVMe is fairly complex, it may have extra requirements, blah, 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 blah. All right, that's kind of why I put in a USB controller into the PCI Express slot. So let's keep going. All right, so that Evo 845 DC 240 gig, that's on the onboard SATA controller, and yet it's not actually visible. So, like, it obviously sees that the drive is there, but you don't have it as like a C colon something, or so that's kind of weird. But that's a separate question, I guess. I'm not too worried about that. Okay, and then if we continue further. Um, yeah, we see that the SATA controller, that's not too interesting. We see that the SD controller seems to have started up, but I don't have an SD card, so I don't really want to go see that fail. Okay, so okay, this is the most interesting thing here. So here is where it has identified the USB controller that is on a discrete PCI Express adapter, and that too failed to start. Now, um, what on earth could that be? So I think I might have tweeted out before that I was having some issues with getting MSI interrupts working using ITS, and well, they work fine in Linux and ESXi ARM Fling that's getting there. It basically works now. But what could device initialization failure be? Well, it could be timeout to initialize the device, which could easily be a problem with interrupts. Of course, given the Play School interface here, that unless you have the debugging symbols and the debugger attached, you can't tell what's going on. you can't tell what's going on. Like, well, it failed to start. Maybe it's interrupt related, maybe it isn't. Right now, my IORT is just basically has a single mapping for all the devices to a device ID. I don't know if Windows supports that or not, so maybe I could play around and see if just try to get a simpler mapping going. But that's kind of where I'm at, or where you could be if you take my firmware patches and run with them. So it's kind of exciting, but then not really, because you get to here and you're like, well, can I actually install something? Okay, and you'll see that no, in fact you can't. And even though, at least within PNP util, it seems like the onboard SATA is recognized, and it even correctly identified the disk on it. The disk will not be visible in the setup. So weird, right? Um, Well, yeah. So that's the bad news right there. Okay, there's nothing visible, and you can rescan it all you want. There's nothing there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe you can drop me a few hints on what I'm doing wrong, but yep, PCI Express, still the bane of ARM systems out there. So take care.